We're talking about a giant where a lot of investors will stick to through thick and thin, swear by, and that's Asian Paints. But what's also very interesting is that in the last 6 months, Asian Paints has come off by as much as 20% from its life highs of around 3,500 rupees per share to 2,800 rupees per share, even as the Nifty currently trades at around near life highs. And something, of course, has changed. It's not only because there's a new challenger in the space, but also perhaps several other challenges coming through. So we are going to talk about Asian Paints in Editor's Cut today, but we're also going to talk about, well, the new player, which will also be in focus. But I'm going to start off with Asian Paints, Niraj.
Strangely, while me and Sajeet are presenting the bull and the bear case, in some sense, both of us, our views kind of match on the point that what's happened in Asian Paints, Sajeet, I'm taking this liberty, that what's happened in Asian Paints, stock price move down, is not necessarily, one, restricted only to Asian Paints, and two, it's happening not because of any danger to its numero uno status, but because multiples were high, because ratios might come off a little bit. So I think all of that comes into play. So let me try and play the contrarian. And after this relative 18% or 19% relative underperformance to the Nifty, what's ahead for Asian Paints? I'll try and dwell in on that. You and Sajeet, feel free to come in as and when you deem fit, So Q3 highlights. Asian Paints knew about all of this happening, but at the end of Q3, in the con call, the company's maintained its commitment to a double-digit volume growth trajectory on a 4-year CAGR basis. So they are confident about volume growth, independent of what the competition may look like. That is part one. The home decor business is 4% of revenue. It's targeted to reach to 8 to 10% by FY26. Why this is important? Because they're routing home decor as well through dealers, as one of the dealers told us yesterday on a call. And that actually strengthens the dealer network confidence and association with Asian Paints. So that's part two. They have maintained the EBITDA guidance of 18 to 20%. So no chinks in the armor there either. Okay, so that's one. And and then I'll ask Sajeet, Agam, with your permission, to come in with the bear case as well before I get to the numbers. But here's one thing. There's so much talk about what Opus entry could do, etc. Now, Asian Paints has faced competition in the past from Sherwin-Williams, AkzoNobel, reinvigorated Berger Paints, etc. It's not dented that. And when I looked at the Macquarie note on the paints sector, now Sajeet, of course, would have more insight here because he visited Panipat and he was right there. But the Macquarie note states that Grasim is targeting 1,000 crore net sales post 3 years of full launch and positive EBITDA as well, right?
10,000 crores.
10,000 crores, okay, 10,000 crores, which makes them believe that the discounting pressures will not be as high, because if Grasim has these stiff targets, they'll not be able to go out and do a destructive pricing strategy, which may disrupt the paint space per se.
So let me come in here. The point is, paints segment as a whole was a sleeping segment with Asian Paint more than 60-65% market share in there. To wake up the giant, you need to have another giant coming in, and that's what has happened in the case of in the paint segment. You're coming in with some 10,000 crores of investment spread over next 2 to 3 years, which, if you look at the next 3 or 4 players, have not put together. So there is a focus on saying that it's a shock and awe kind of thing which is happening in this space, and that's why we are also discussing, because there's so much of big thing which is coming in. Capacity. Look at the model of Asian Paint. It's a perfect model for a monopoly, but the competitor is also has a similar model which is there. Now, no one is saying that Asian Paints will not be the numero uno. It will still be the largest player, but the opportunity which is coming in here for the new competitor is nearly 20,000 crores of unorganized market, which is not
precisely. So is it Asian Paints share that it will dent, or will it dent the others?
So the thing is that the pricing pricing does not play a thing at the upper end of the decorative paints. Right. It doesn't. It's not as elastic. It's inelastic in that sense. But it plays a very big role in C towns where people are using distempers. They can go into enamels. The economy, the mass product which everyone is producing at the bottom of the funnel, that can move to an economy. An economy can move to a premium based on the pricing. The point being that the dent which is going to happen is at the bottom of the pyramid for all paint makers, including Asian Paints.
Okay. Right. Now, so Agam, but my contention is this, right? I mean, you've been patiently listening and siding with Sajeet. I take offense to that.
No. Yeah, so actually I've not been siding with Sajeet. Well, all I'm trying to say is that firstly, there's plenty of space for everyone to grow. And there's no doubt, no one is going to question Asian Paints numero uno position even 10 years down the line. That's not even this thing. But, there was a statement made by K.M. Birla, and he said that at the moment, the consumption of paints per person stands at somewhere around 3.5 kilos. As compared to a developed nation, which stands at 25 kilos per person. So there certainly is a lot of scope for growth. The only thing that changes perhaps with Opus's entry is that it maybe shifts things for people like Berger Paints and Kansai.
Thank you. Now that's the point, right? The topic of our debate today was what? Is the correction in Asian Paints overdone? Now let me present some numbers, guys. Yes. Asian Paints PE multiples. This is as per the Motilal Oswal note. FY24, 25, 26. 47 times FY24, 45 times FY25, 41 times FY26. Now, lest you think that these are expensive numbers. By the way, the numbers on your screen, viewers, are as per a Motilal Oswal note. Now, if you look at the consensus notes, I'm just presenting what's happened in Asian Paints multiples all through the years. Now, what has happened in Asian Paints since 2012 or thereabouts? Look at this data, guys. Asian Paints P multiple in 2012, March 2012, was 31 times. Went up to 43 in 14. Went up to 55 times 2015. March 2019, 65 times. Went up to 95 times December 2020. Right? Had a dip of 71 times, maybe due to whatever factor. December 21 multiples were 105 times. The markets thought Asian Paints could do no wrong. From there, the multiples have come down to the current consensus numbers of 52 times. And if you look at the Motilal Oswal estimates of what could it do in FY26, it's 41 times. At 41 times, Sajeet and Agam, Asian Paints is available at a multiple that it was last available in 2014. Now, has a correction in multiples happened or not? So it has, right?
Let me put a counter to it. Please you're looking from a market's point of view, you're looking from an investor's point of view, right? We're talking of 60 times, 50 times, and 40 times over the next 3 years or 4 years, which is there. Look at Grasim as a stock. It's getting a multiple for a VSF player as of today. Now, tomorrow it's...
but I'm not contending, Sajeet, that Grasim may get favor.
Who's going to benefit?
Grasim may benefit. The question is Asian Paints correction overdone, Sajeet? It's a marquee name with high ROCs. I mean, look at this. Look at the other statistic that I have, by the way, very quickly. The paints sector at large right now, right? Asian, Berger, Kansai, Indigo, AkzoNobel. I've taken 5. Allow me the ability not to take Grasim because Grasim hasn't proven itself thus far. It's a VSF player. Look at the comparative. TTM PE multiples. Berger is actually higher than Asian, by the way, right? The others are lower. But look at the return on capital, right? Asian Paints is matched only by AkzoNobel. Every other player has ROCs and margins lower than Asian Paints. So my question only is, one, does Asian Paints deserve higher multiples? Yes, it does. Has it been a multiple uptick? Yes, it has, because the CAGR growth rates haven't been as strong as the share price uptick. So the valuation multiples have gone up. But from 100 times, it's come down to 41 times FY26. You can argue it is still expensive, but I can argue that relative to history now, it is way cheaper. And at some point of time, people will sit back and say that it's underperformed the Nifty by 20%. Is this overdone?
But what is the market saying because of this? With 20% which has fallen for Asian Paints, it's derated the valuation from 60 times to nearly 40 times.
Right.
Which basically means that the market is seeing the growth is there, but the valuation may not be as aggressive going forward.
So priced in.
It's been priced in.
Maybe.
Now the next fact is that if there's a competition which comes in 3 years down the line and it brings in metrics which is similar to an Asian Paint, will it have a same kind of valuation?
Maybe Grasim gains, but Grasim has other things.
But it will be at the cost of who?
Well, I would dare say, sorry, the last piece that I have, I would dare say that Grasim is saying that we want to be number 2. would Grasim displace the number 3, number 4, number 5, or the number 2, number 3, number 4 currently, and not Asian Paints on the multiples front? I rest my case.
No, I'm not saying whether Grasim becomes number 2 or number 3. The point is that today there is a challenger who is saying that I want to become number 2.
Exactly.
It has never said that I want to replace Asian Paints.
Exactly.
But point is that how is it going to do it? It's going to do it through taking away the market share of 2, 3, and 4.
I'm saying is that in the price for these companies?
And the bottom of the pyramid of Asian Paints. And that's where. So if Asian Paint is tomorrow able to prove that, okay, I'm going to go into the high-end paints and that's where the higher margins are going to be, then maybe the valuation for Asian Paints will come back. But today, the base level, which is the of the pyramid, is at risk for all the players.
Agam, these two argumentative Indians can go on and on. But I guess the verdict is whether Asian Paints correction is overdone. I would suspect that a lot of it is in the price.
Sure. So, we do understand that at the moment, given the kind of correction that we've seen in Asian Paints and going at considerably lower valuations as compared to its historical valuations at which Asian Paints is trading at, well, there potentially could be some value in there, but we need to also consider that growth, considering the size at which Asian Paints is right now. Secondly, of course, with all the other players, well, pulling their socks up while we have Opus challenging for a number 2 position, at least in the near term. Well, a lot of these factors are going to be weighing on a lot of investors' minds, which is why possibly we have seen that correction in Asian Paints. But there certainly is an argument for value as well, because Asian Paints still does have significantly higher return on capital as compared to a lot of its peers as well. So a lot will eventually be clear as we move through the course of the next few months and years. But for now, it does seem like Asian Paints, well, perhaps just adds a little bit of value as compared to what it could in the previous few years.